Hello Mustangs. Today we're going to work on measurement, different types of measurement. We're going to talk about the measurements for length, which is distance. We're going to talk about the measurement for weight, how much something weighs, and we're also going to talk about the measurement for liquid volume, how much there is of something in a volume. So those are the three things we're going to deal with. So I've got a bunch of things that I brought out to show you, and when I'm done with this lesson, what I want you to do is, what your goal is going to be, is you're going to classify, you're going to find something to classify for each one of these categories, just like I'm going to show you one. So let's start off just going through the rundown and look at our vocabulary for a second. We have distance. In distance, we're dealing with standard units of measure, not metric. Today we're just going to deal with standard units of measure. In distance, we have inches. That's the smallest one. Then we go to feet. Then we have yards. And then we have miles. And they progress. Small, feet are bigger, yards are bigger, and miles are the biggest measurement. When we have weight, we have ounces, smallest unit of measurement. Then we have pounds, a little bit bigger. And then we have tons, what we measure really heavy stuff with. The last is liquid volume. Liquid volume, we have cups, the smallest unit, pints, a little bit bigger, quarts, bigger than that, and then gallons is going to be the biggest unit of measure we have for liquid volume. So let's look at some things. What do I have? I have my trusty ruler right here. So the first thing in distance is I'm going to grab something and I'm going to look at it and measure it in inches. So this is my cue stick holder, and I put this on a table and it will hold all my cue sticks up. So if I measure it in inches, this is the inch side of my ruler, and you can see that if I measure it, that is about 7 inches. So that I would measure with 7 inches. So my cue stick holder is going to be 7 inches. I'm going to grab a marker, and I'm just going to write down cue stick holder is what I measured in inches. Now I'm going to go to feet. What do I have that I can measure in feet? Right here I have my wife Lisa's pool stick. So if I were to measure this in feet, and this thing here is 2 feet, so her pool stick is about 2, 4, about 5 feet. So her cue stick I would measure in feet. And then let's see what else I have. So I was looking for something to measure in yards, and I figured this thing, this is part of my weight set that I don't really use very often, hardly ever, if I'm going to be totally honest. But I thought I could measure this in yards. So if I measure this in yards, I have this handy dandy tape. And if I measure it from the top down, okay, so right there, 3 feet, that's 1 yard. Down again, we have, ooh, look, right there. It's 2 yards long. So this I would measure as 2 yards. And that is a barbell. So the barbell I would measure in yards. Last, what would I measure in miles? Well, for instance, miles is a longer distance, and today I ran about 5 miles. So I would measure my runs in miles. Or maybe the distance from your home to the school you'd measure in miles. Now let's go on to weight. Weight, the first thing we have is ounces. Ounces, I have this cue ball that I took off my pool table. And this cue ball I weighed, I should say, with this weighing and I weighed it, and it's about 6 ounces. So I measured my cue ball in ounces. Now what would I measure in pounds? And with pounds, I have a much bigger scale, right? So this scale I use to weigh myself. So I could weigh myself in pounds, or I also have a dumbbell here. This dumbbell is 10 pounds. So I could say, what would I weigh in pounds? I'm going to write down that I would weigh my dumbbell in pounds. And last is tons. Tons are 2,000 pounds, so it's something really big. So what would I measure in tons? The thing I would think I'd measure in tons would be like my Jeep. I have a Jeep that I drive, and I would measure my Jeep in tons. Now let's look at liquid volume. My liquid volume, I didn't actually fill it in with it, but this would be a cup of water. If I were to put a cup of water in here, I would measure that in cups. And that would be 1 cup of water. Now for pints, I actually found something that was exactly 1 pint, and it's my vitamin water. You've seen me drink this. I drink it all the time at school. So this is my vitamin water, and that is 1 pint. Actually, I'm a little thirsty right now, so I'm going to take a sip. Hope you don't mind watching me drink. Now, the next one is quarts. And my wife Lisa, she bought this almond milk. I'm not exactly what's wrong with regular milk, but she bought almond milk. And this would be measured in quarts. This is 2 quarts of almond milk. So I'm going to put down here in quarts, what did I measure? Almond milk. I'm sure some of you out there are saying, oh, I love almond milk. And some of you, just like me, are saying, ooh, what's wrong with regular milk? So the next thing I have that I would measure is gallons. And in gallons, you measure bigger things. So I actually found this. This is a 5-gallon water jug. So this I would measure in gallons. 5, or I would say water jug. Another thing that you would measure in gallons might be your bathtub, your swimming pool. I had a swimming pool at my previous house, and we measured the swimming pool in gallons, and it was about a 15,000 gallon pool. So those are all the different things that you can use. And what I'm asking you to do, what your project is going to be find something in your house that you would put into each one of these categories. 1 for distance, 1 for weight, and 1 for liquid volume. So that'll give you some things to do. Come up with something in your house, your garage, your refrigerator. Ask your mom, don't get in trouble, so get permission before you start grabbing gallons of milk out of the refrigerator. See if you can come up with something, classify it, turn it in, and I'll have a place for you guys to turn it in to me on my virtual learning. All right, enjoy.